Mike, you want to slide over a little bit? I can barely see you.
Yeah, my God. Let's just turn the
Get cozy.
There we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Only Football, YouTube and Anchor podcast, wherever you might be. Steph, Joe, Rom, Rizzoli, Theo, Murph, you know who you are. All you shithouses out there. Welcome, and thanks for joining. Max Baumler and the Colonel, Michael Holder.
The old lady.
And the old lady. Okay, all right. We'll drop the Colonel. The old lady.
Lady.
That's stuck.
We'll see how far it goes, but Euros finally started. Let's go.
Yeah. Some surprises this week. I have to say, I have to confess myself, I didn't see as much as I'd like to. Crazy, hilarious thing to me, anyways. I would have worked throughout this whole charade that's been going on for the last year and a half, and I have to say it's pretty ridiculous that the day they bring me back after 8 months off at the bar is
the first day of Euros.
So at this point, just give me the extra fucking month, will you? So I can watch it in relative peace. I'll still have Wiley, my 2-year-old, running around and whatnot, but the Only's not set up like it used to be for premium,
viewing,
money making and viewing, and viewing as a football fan and a bartender.
You have to go out sometimes.
I have to go out a lot now. A lot of footwork. Also, quickly, Theo and Eric, check down Charlie's if you're into some right now. So going strong with the New York Giants history. Give them a listen to at Check Down Charlie's on Instagram and on Spotify. Just search Check Down Charlie's. Also, if you're watching, tell your friends and like, subscribe, and all that good shit. So then we can start charging. Okay, Mike, start us off, man. You've definitely seen a lot more than I have. We're gonna go top to bottom, Group A to F. Reviews and preview into the second round.
Starting right into it, no transfers?
Oh, pardon me. Yeah. I'm spacing. I'm getting carried away. Mike. Sorry. So, yes, we're going to do a little paper talk roundup. And we got a little, this morning, last night when we were talking, there's not much to really talk about. And then all of a sudden this morning, there was 3 big stories right away.
Yeah.
So, why don't you kick us off with what you think is the biggest?
Well, it's not that I would say it would be the biggest because everyone's known it's coming for a while, but Ramos officially won't be returning to Real Madrid after since January. There's been rumblings of him not coming back and discontent, but it was made official today or yesterday that Perez and Real Madrid said, thank you for your service, pretty much, yeah. But we don't need you anymore. You said you want to elaborate on the contract?
So what Ramos came out saying today is that the whole thing with Ramos is that he wanted 2 years. And that's been going on the whole time. But now he's coming out and saying that he actually agreed the 1-year deal
that they
very recently that they countered with. And now they've said that it took him too long, and now they're letting him go.
So it's expired.
Yeah. So and he didn't know this. Apparently, according to Ramos, there was no expiry on this offer. So he could have stayed for 1 more year. I would have kept him for 1 more year if I was.
Well, even if he says and he's like, okay, you want to do 1? If we offered you 1, just do it. Right?
Giggs was doing that for the last 3 or 4 years.
Just do it. Right. If he finally said yes, it might have taken him longer, but now you're just saying it's out the door. See ya. Thank you for your services, but we don't need you. We made our decision.
But they have problems at the back.
I know.
Varane's contract's up in the year. He could be sold this summer.
Didn't Man U put an official offer of $40 million?
They did. PSG will be looking at him as well, and I'm sure the PSG will be looking at Ramos. Yes, Real, I'm sure will pick up someone else elsewhere, like a Jules Koundé or a Pau Torres, for example. Even a Koulibaly, probably going for 30 to 40 mil, I'd say.
Yeah.
At this point. And they, but there's still a lot of work to do. I know they just brought in Alaba, but there's still a lot of work to do.
There's still a lot of work to do.
You just bring Ramos for
and not playing in the Euros, so going into the season, most likely he should be healthy.
Yeah.
Unless he has some secret surgery. But other than that, I was surprised, right? To hear that news, who knows if it's 100% true, but that's what Ramos says, and I wouldn't I wouldn't see him to be liar that much.
No,
about something like that.
And there was no really poor words. At least publicly,
yeah.
With the club.
He said he still looks at these players as family, and family sometimes fight and argue, but
and he did say he was going to keep whatever was said in the boardroom, which he did kind of allude to the fact that it was kind of nasty, but that would stay with him now. So it was professional. I don't think it needed to happen.
It was just not the ending he thought it would happen with Ramos and Real Madrid, seeing that he's been there since 2005.
Yes,
I think it was 2005. Yeah.
My turn.
Yeah,
I'm going to pick Gennaro Gattuso because I'm a big fan of Gattuso as a player, but I've always just liked him as a manager, even though he doesn't blow my mind in any way. I just love seeing him on the touchline, and I'm really pulling for him. I feel like, if he gets the proper team around him, he could actually, possibly do something. So he's just a wild card for me as a manager. But I thought after he left Napoli, which was a mistake on De Laurentiis' part at Napoli, he went to Fiorentina immediately. 23 days later, he's walking away from Fiorentina. And you know what? I was surprised, obviously, but not shocked, because there's been problems at Fiorentina for the last few years. When Pioli was there a couple of years ago, I was pretty enraged at Pioli for squandering what I thought was a pretty good team, nearly almost getting them relegated. But it's continued, it's persisted since then. And I have to say, there's problems at Fiorentina.
But I thought those would have been addressed when he first signed, right?
Well, that's the issue, is that apparently he's not getting what he wants. Not close to what he wants.
So they lied to him.
Yes.
That's what I gained from this. Is that they said they would do all this. So what were the two players he wanted that they said?
Sure. I'm actually not sure. I haven't seen. I just know that there were certain demands that have already not being close to being
fulfilled. Yes, there was two players in particular that I did see that he wanted, and they wanted to go for cheaper options.
Yeah.
But I thought they could possibly get him. I think they should have spent those that money on those players, because I think it would help a lot. Oh my god, it's gonna bug me. I'll remember.
We'll figure it out. Also, whoever's lingering in the chat, feel free to chime in with anything. Thoughts on what's been going on so far in the tournament, or any other transfer news that we have. Now, I'd say there's one more big near announcement.
Donnarumma.
Oh, actually, no, there's two. Okay.
Okay. We'll do Donnarumma first.
Yeah, Donnarumma it is. Okay,
and then I forgot about that. Sorry.
Yeah. I forgot about Donnarumma, which I think arguably is bigger. Now, Donnarumma is very close to apparently signing a 5-year deal at PSG. PSG just seems like they're gonna kind of pull almost more savvier version of what Chelsea did last summer, with a lot of free agent signings. While they're with Wijnaldum, they could easily get Ramos. They could get a discount Varane, and it looks like Donnarumma is almost surely set to sign.
Do they need to do that much, though?
Man, they're not paying anything. And honestly, I think that midfield does need that extra body in there. You get an older Ramos for experience, and then you can get Marquinhos back into the midfield, which I think is key.
So you think PSG getting Ramos,
quite possibly, yeah.
Is that the same, better, or worse than when Chelsea got Thiago Silva? Because you're saying the exact same things now that I said about Thiago Silva for Chelsea. I know he played 20 minutes or whatever in the Champions League final, but he was still instrumental.
He was under Tuchel's. He did end up being, because that was under Tuchel's reign. I said the beginning of the season was a big mistake under Lampard, but Tuchel really turned him around and made him work. And I'm going to say it is good, because you know what, he would be behind Kimpembe. They might have some. They could still work Marquinhos at the back, but I think with Ramos there, you can push him up into the mid, which I think is key. So that's a big boost right there. And it's the French league, and as much as I like Liga, it's nowhere near as rigorous as the Premier League.
Yeah.
And you can take some games off. Champions League would be the main focus for that. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good move for both sides personally. Last one.
You lead it off. This is yours.
Again,
You were gleaming texting me this morning about
I love this. So again, not official, but more and more this morning, it seems like basically the first thing I saw is that Rafa Benitez actually looks almost dead on to sign for Everton. Which
has there ever been a manager who managed both?
Not that I know.
How do you think? I don't know. I think both fans would be happy about that.
I think if you're an Everton fan, I'd be pretty glib about it, because you saw what Benitez was doing a couple years ago at Newcastle. it's like, okay, this guy's still putting in work. And like Newcastle, if they just backed him, honestly, if they had just backed Benitez, Newcastle should have been knocking at this point, like the season that just passed, should have been knocking on Europa League for sure. They haven't come close.
They could have had. Well, there's in turmoil in Newcastle, right? But they keep surviving, which is good, I guess, because they're going to get more money because they're survived. But is it 2 unsuccessful takeover bids now?
At least, like 2 in the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's so bad, and everyone's like, "Oh, Newcastle is going to be signing Neymar and all these other guys." But Everton,
I like it because you know what? Now Liverpool fans will no doubt keep cheering against them. It's like, all right, fuck you, Benitez, and like they want to see this go horribly, and just have Everton persist as they have for the last easily 5 years, where Everton's never necessarily was standing up there, but have they qualified for Europe?
I was gonna say no. In the last 5 years, have they closed the gap?
No.
Is it gotten worse?
I'd say it's about the same.
It's about the same.
Yeah, I mean,
they've been trying to close the gap, but
they're always trying, but they don't scout well at all. And I thought, it's too bad Ancelotti didn't stick around because I thought maybe there was, even though the season didn't wind up the way they wanted to, I think there was something there.
Progress? You think there was progress?
Slightly, but now you start all over again with Benitez, but Benitez needs to stick around, and I think he will.
So just getting all the Real Madrid rejects.
Yeah,
managers. Oh, you got sacked by Real. Come to Everton.
You know what? If Real's in the same situation they are right now, in let's say 2 years, maybe Benitez just goes there again. It's like, I'm coming back, guys, and let's try this again.
He only lasted like half a season, right? When he went, he was the one before Zidane, right?
I do believe, yes.
Yeah, before they won the 3.
Yeah.
He was the casualty, the sacrifice.
Okay, we're getting on. Let's get into the tournament.
Yes,
Mike, start us off. Group A: Italy, Turkey, Switzerland, Wales. Who do you want to start with here? Because I think there's a lot to talk about in this group.
What do you want to? I think we should go best to worst this time.
Yes,
Italy, because Italy is probably the least amount to talk about because they've been sensational.
Well, I think there's something to say there. It's like,
but they've been sensational for a while. It's just like, will it translate to the tournament? I guess obviously having 3 home games helps a lot. But 2-3-0 wins. I think it's 30 goals in a row without conceding. I think since
and in a long stretch of match, I think is it now 10 wins in a row without conceding?
No, it's more than 10 games. 10 wins
in
a row without conceding.
I think it's 10 wins.
But they've gone. The last 30 goals have all been for them and none against. I don't think they've conceded since the Nations League.
Wow.
When was that? 2019. So however many games that was when they lost to Netherlands. Netherlands was in the group, right? With Italy? No, Netherlands was with France and Germany.
Mike, I don't know, man. I honestly, I don't.
It's 30 straight goals for them.
I don't recognize
the opponents. So their defense is what we expect it to be. It's Italian defense first, and they're scoring freewheeling and getting it from it. Their midfield is really helping with the goals. And jumping, obviously not Jorginho, but Locatelli and Barella jumping into the play, creating wider spaces and bigger holes for their strikers and wingers to attack. Have really helped them. And
they're getting licensed to go up.
Yes, and
that strong midfield can rotate, and someone's going to jump up into like the edge of the box. And you know what? I got to say, I was a little dubious about Chiellini and Bonucci starting. I think you were as well.
I said Chiellini was going to start. I don't think he should.
I didn't.
But I said the partnership that's been there for years. They've been on the same club, minus that 1 year Bonucci. It was a snake. But other than that, their defense has been great. Spinazzola, Florenzi, always still they don't have to jump up as much because their midfielders are, and that's making them defensively sound. With Jorginho not staying put and just collecting the balls, they look really good under Mancini. The only downfall I would say, Chiellini did get hurt last game. He went off in the 24th minute, 3 minutes after he scored a disallowed goal. And then the only other disappointment would be for you and Chiesa not getting the start. But Berardi's
fine.
Berardi has been.
No, for me, my starting would have been I would have taken Chiesa over Insigne. That's what I would have done. But I didn't hold anything against Mancini for doing that.
It's clearly working. And,
yes, it is. I think there actually might be some rotation in that last game against Wales, actually.
Yes.
And I think Chiesa might be someone who gets in there. The thing is that they can't afford to lose it because somehow Wales would finish top of the group.
Yeah, they would.
Wales, like what happened to this last week? I don't know, 2 weeks ago when we did the pre for ABC. I was like, this is a championship team with a couple aging stars, and
they don't want to age yet.
They're putting in Ramsey's thing. He misses a sitter, he scores a goal. They miss a, whatever. It's okay. But see, from what I saw, because I saw the first half of them against Switzerland, and I listened to the majority of the second half. And from what I saw in the first half, especially, I was like, after the first 5 minutes, Wales got to a bright start, 5 minutes, and then Wales looked like the team I expected them to be. And they ground out a result. I don't think they were great in that Switzerland match.
No, they weren't.
They finished quite nicely. Obviously, the 10 goal. They get relatively lucky with an offside goal that got disallowed, which was offside. I'm not saying
it was clear.
I'm not saying they were lucky in that sense, but
they survived the press.
Yes,
the late press.
And I think that just gave them confidence against Turkey. And then Turkey, on the other hand, well, they maybe a little unfortunate to be facing Italy the first match, to not get the ball rolling somewhat and get utterly dismantled. I think this is the way that the manner in which Turkey lost to Italy.
Yeah, but they were like, even the first half was 0-0. There could have been 2 penalties.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
they didn't look ever like they were going to win the game, and it's like they didn't offer any optimism as a fan that they could go through. They have no offense. And it's weird because I know they were known for their defense in qualifying, and they're still playing well in the qualifiers for World Cup. But in this tournament, they just lack creativity. It's pretty directional. It's like all their chances are like half chances. They did have one good chance against Wales, and Yilmaz skied it. Yes. He was trying to, do kung fu karate.
There's no one around him either.
He could have brought it down, and then
Rom was livid. He just came into the bar just like.
I can't imagine how you felt watching the 2 games as an entirety, but still, they don't look good. They don't look like the team that qualified the way they did for this Euro, and the team that's still playing well in the qualifiers for
the
World Cup.
They battered the Dutch. They battered Norway just a couple months ago, and that was a big letdown. This I didn't really do a bracket, and by really it's because someone had filled the one in that guy put forth. Anyway, this would have shattered a bracket for me because I have Wales bottom of the barrel, maybe not even scoring a goal. Instead, it's Turkey, and Turkey for me. When we were doing the preview, I was thinking I was battling with Turkey topping this group.
No,
and I went with Italy, but very marginally. And then Switzerland, they've got let's wrap it up with this group quick. But Switzerland utterly picked apart by Italy, and not they tried to win that Wales game in typical Switzerland fashion. Play well, be the better team, but nick that goal and just don't expose yourself. And again with Wales, everyone's players that have been showing up. Kiefer Moore's been
really good.
Just a classic number 9.
Joe Allen working the midfield.
Yeah, and
Welsh Pirlo.
And then you bring in Ethan Ampadu, in the 70th minute, which they've been doing to either protect something. Which he's very good at. He did a great job at Sheffield this season. Even though Sheffield were born, he was a slight bright spot for them. And for Wales to bring in to get Joe Allen off because he's getting old, that man, and get some fresh legs on to hold it down is it's a good little rotation they have there. I think you're going to see that every game. That's something that's going to happen every game.
So the way this group has gone so far, it is good for all the other groups. If Switzerland and Turkey tie the last game.
Yes. Because
then we know for sure a third-place team will not come out for this group because there's no way you go through as one of the top 4 third-place teams with 2 points, if that would be Switzerland's case. So Switzerland, they have to win this next game. Turkey pretty much have nothing to play for.
I think they
have a -5 goal difference.
I know, right? but I think they show up for it.
Though. No, I'm not saying they roll over.
I actually do think Switzerland is getting bounced.
Well, if
I actually think Turkey will show up.
If
I'm dying on this Turkish show. I absolutely
falling on the sword.
Yeah.
But yes, at least for the group of death stage, that's Group F. This group's looking real good for not a third place team, which means you only have to beat out one other team.
Yeah.
which is good.
And when we get into Group F, I feel like that's another group that I just think there's gonna be a lot of draws.
Yeah, but
if Slovakia got one, but we'll get to that.
But if Switzerland win, then they're in. They're in. The 4 points.
Yes,
with the third point, you're in. Good. Yeah, so it could either really bad or really good for the other groups. But so far, a tie or a Turkey win.
Man, 4 points though. 4 points with 1 goal win. They've been -2 goal differential.
It's 4 points though. No other. There's not going to be the best. There's going to be 2 third-place teams that go through with 3 points. Yeah, that's how it was last year. Or last year. Sorry.
Yeah, you'll be getting that in the Danish group, I guess, for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's get on to Group B, which is the group the Danish group. Which was, we were talking about on the way here, if Denmark had held on to that blistering start they had against Belgium today. I watched the second half, which was great. Rom was texting me during the first half. I was like, man, the Danes are just
they looked like Belgium.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not with the type world-class players, but you just thought like, oh, maybe they just switched jerseys, but like they were all over them. Of course, Poulsen scores 98 seconds in. Second fastest goal in Euro Cup history, or Euro finals. And they could have made it 2-0 after 6 minutes. They were high pressing. Belgium didn't know how to deal with it. Obviously not starting De Bruyne and Hazard.
Well, yeah. And you know what? I think, it works out for them. They end up getting a result, but they were both injured.
They're coming back from injury. They're coming from fitness. It's not really the squad that. It is still a good squad, but it's not the starting 11 that they desire. But they know that as long as they get them ready for the knockout stages, that's all that counts, right? And they even said in the game, we said last week too, I think this is the last tournament for this golden age of Belgium.
See, you say that. I think the midfield to the front has the ability to even last till the next Euros.
I didn't know they're the second oldest team. I didn't know that. Until they got
that back line. And that's the thing, that back line, especially Jason Denaire, was making fucking like
he was at cause fault for the first goal.
He was. I haven't seen the goal, but I was watching the second half and like, my goodness, man, they were making Martin Braithwaite look like Lewandowski on a bad day, which is good for Martin Braithwaite.
Yeah, he looked like he honestly hit the croast at what do you call like the joint? But it's like it was like the outside of the.
It was yes, in the second half.
In the second half, 87th minute, could have tied it. It was a great play. Honestly, good on.
Well, Alderweireld made a huge block on him, like maybe 5 minutes before that too, and that was Daenerys backing off. Like Witsel was yelling at. Witzel's coming back in He
then Donker,
in like the 60th minute, so that's a big.
He would be in where the Donker is.
Yes, he looked a little off the pace, but he hasn't played really since January, so you can understand that. Like he looked a little sloppy, but to get him half an hour is really big. And like he's calling it Denaire, and like, man, like that's the problem with this team, and I think we both agree with it at the beginning. It's like this is why they're not going to get it done.
You never know, but De Bruyne looked like the best player in the world when he came on.
He looked amazing. So did Lukaku, and so did Lukaku. Like Lukaku's hold-up play, which I criticized him for a lot, was
in the past. You just got to say in the past.
In the past,
you know what? I will agree with Mourinho when he said this because he talked about Lukaku too because he's doing the Euro talk show with one of the Talk Sport, and he said that Lukaku, Inter was a great system for him, and it really he needed to go somewhere where he was like loved, right? Mm-hmm. Because when he's loved, he plays better.
Sure.
And he says the transition from Inter system to Belgium system is very similar. So there won't be any like a match or two where it takes them to adjust. He's already adjusted because it's the same style of play. And yes, I agreed with that perfectly. And he's playing the same way. Obviously, he doesn't have like a Lautaro. It's not like a 1-2 where they play like
off each other,
or a 5-3.
He is the lone guy, but he has
two great wings, right? Usually it would be Hazard and probably who would he put on the other side? Carrasco, Mertens, Hazard. It doesn't really matter, but usually it would be Eden and Lukaku, and then rotate one of those. But he was instrumental on both goals. He ended up getting man of the match, even though De Bruyne came on at half and got a goal and assist. You would assume he would get it, but Lukaku got it, and he started both goals, which is fair. and pretty much got the, besides the second one, he got the hockey assist on the first one, and started the one-touch passing to Brunner for a lovely. You see the second goal?
Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah, so the second half was amazing. That was, see, again, I haven't seen like nearly as much as I've won. That's the best I've seen out of this tournament so far.
That was the best match, I think.
Who else was there? Russia, Finland. Again, so we're about to say if Denmark had held on, though, it would have been like the rock, paper, scissors group.
Yeah.
Everyone would have been on 3 points. Everyone's like,
would have had a chance.
Denmark beats Belgium, theoretically. Belgium beats Russia. Russia beats Finland. Finland beats Denmark. Now that would have been something.
Every team has a chance to come first, and every team has a chance to come last. That's what the group would have been if Denmark had held on.
Yeah. But Denmark, despite losing, and we haven't mentioned is Christian Eriksen, which was I was on the phone. I had the match on my phone. This is one of the first halves that I was able to see before I was going after work, and this like slew of days straight that I was doing, and I was doing something with Wiley I came back to my phone, and Stefan has messaged me, and he's like, "Are you watching this?" Because like I'm watching that first half, Denmark should have been like probably in the lead by a good 2 goals. And I was like, "What did you bet on? Did you bet on Denmark?" Like, because I was like, "Are you watching this?" Like, I think he's like, "Yeah, I can't believe I haven't scored yet." He's like, "Man, stop!" I'm like, "What?" And like in the corner of my phone, I had seen that someone was down, but I didn't.
You didn't know.
I had no idea. So I actually haven't seen him drop it. I don't think I want to see him drop it.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. I wasn't because I will admit the Saturday out of all the games, the 3 games on Saturday, I said, you know what, Denmark Finland is the one I can miss.
Sure.
So I'm gonna go out, do a bike ride, be active. It's a nice day. I also had a similar scare with you because I happened to go bike riding and check my phone about 3 or 4 minutes after. That's when we stopped. And I got more of a scare than you did because I had it was my sister, 3 messages from my sister,
that's right,
and a missed phone call, right? And I was like, okay, she called me, it must be something important. But like from the 3 messages, when you go on iPhone, you can only see the last one if you go to messages. And she said they had to use the defibrillator, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm thinking it's either my mom or dad, like something happened. So I call her, and then luckily she answered. I was like, "Are you watching the game?" And I'm like, oh, "Okay, thank God, it's not family related." Yeah. But like,
I hope he's okay. I hope this guy's okay.
I hope he's okay. Yeah. But like, I thought it was immediate family member. So after she said that, she's like, "Honestly, I thought I saw someone die on the field live." And I went to Twitter to see because I know Twitter would have the videos, but obviously they're taking them all down. But yeah, that was a very scary because Christensen is a guy who plays on a top club.
Know him more too. Right?
Yes, and he plays in and out, and it's just shit. Like, it's unfortunate that soccer is the sport that this happens the most in because I feel as though every 4 or 5 years there's someone who dies, and they're always getting physicals, or at least once a month, and they're always in tip-top shape. But it is like, I know not a lot. I think this is a good thing. Not obviously him having the cardiac arrest, but a good thing to always have defibrillators in every stadium nearby, even training grounds, because this could happen anywhere. Yep. And this is a good, not message, but hopefully all venues implement it, or at least have medics that have a portable one nearby for this to happen.
Who can afford it? There's got to be like a level of league that makes it mandatory.
It has to be mandatory, right? Yeah. Because it was just shocking because he was out before there was a throw in and he was already falling and it hit him. And he was just lifeless, it looked like. But thank God he's okay.
Yeah.
They kept referring that the hospital was a few blocks away from the stadium. So after Denmark scored, they were just like, he could probably, like, hopefully he's watching, which he probably was, but he's like, he can definitely hear the stadium now.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, because it's like a kilometer, less than a kilometer away.
Yes, well,
Glad he's doing well.
I wonder what's going to come of that, though. Like, I think his physician or his ex-physician said that he probably won't play for Inter again. So there might be like a level of football that he just won't be able to partake in ever again. We'll see.
Unfortunate. But
we'll see. It might not be the case, but that's just something I saw today. And back to that group, Denmark again, despite being with 0 points and 2 losses,
they're not.
They just seem to be. They seem to beat Russia and Belgium. Need to beat Finland, which seem very, very manageable. Russia have a -2 goal differential. Denmark are on -2. So all they have to do is win.
Yeah.
And Belgium need to win, and Denmark are in. So they could still sneak that second place spot with a somewhat of a lackluster group. And yeah, then you have a third place team on 3 points in that group.
Yeah. With a minus goal difference.
Yes. Okay. Big. Yeah. Let's go to Group C, and let's try. And we've been going a little bit longer. It's the Euros too. I don't actually think it's necessarily the YouTube thing. There's just so much to unpack with the Euros.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go to Group C, and a team that I was saying we're not going to necessarily crash and burn. Overall, yes. I don't have the Dutch coming in round 16. And for me, I didn't have them winning this group if they dropped points to the Ukraine. If they'd won against Ukraine, which they obviously did, it's like, yes, I'll take them to win the group. But I thought Ukraine could do something here. I haven't seen much of the Dutch. I watched the highlights against the Ukraine, and everyone's told me, and from what I could see, is that they really put in a really good performance. Their De Boer is using that 3-5-2 system quite effectively. You can see Denzel Dumfries, of all people, with 2 goals so far in the tournament. He's a good player. But the thing is that, like, at PSV, he actually plays like a full-on right back position, and he's pushed way up the field. Like when I was watching those highlights against Ukraine, the guy was in the box he could have had a fucking hat trick. The guy is hanging around the 6-yard box on balls coming from the other side.
That he's getting up and down.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
What they want.
So they're getting a lot of width, which you do get from that formation, and so far it's working effectively. I don't think people should get too carried away, and maybe I'm being stubborn on the Dutch, but I don't think people should get too carried away with this group. It's a very light group, and I think they run into trouble round of 16. I stand by it, but they are definitely getting some confidence, some much needed confidence, considering the year they've had under De Boer previously.
Yes, and they did have a mini collapse. Like De Boer learned his lesson this time. After they went up 2-0, he put on Ake, and just made sure.
Well, he brought on Ake when it was 2-0 against Ukraine as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. But I get what you're saying. I can see them making the quarters, but definitely not past the quarters. I do agree with that. Depending who would they face if
they top the group?
If they top the group, because I think they have a favorable one if they top the group.
So they are C, yes.
1C.
Yes, I think I was kind of looking at if they'd 3 from D or E. So yeah, that's
England's group. And
that's 3 though.
3.
So you could be playing Croatia from D or E. So I guess you'd be hoping for that E group for sure.
Maybe Czech Republic or Croatia. That could be bad. But I still
not Croatia.
But good showing. Ukraine. I don't know.
Ukraine were again. From what I saw and what I was hearing, like just they had that little burst.
Yeah, they have
really
lapses.
well taken goals, like amazingly well taken goals to draw that back. But where were they the rest of the match? Like the Dutch dominated. Wijnaldum, I think, had 8 shots in that match. And this is someone who at Newcastle was kind of playing in the role that he does when he was at Newcastle. He was playing for the pitch, and then when he comes into Klopp's Liverpool, he's playing more box to box. You find him more in a more defensive role. But with the Dutch, he is back up there again. And I mean, to pull off 8 shots from someone that you don't necessarily equate with, someone who's just going to be a hellraiser offensively.
Yeah. If you said someone who had 8 shots,
it's a little shocking. And I got to say, like, that Ukraine are going to have to do something about that.
They're a good team, but they go through lapses, and Shevchenko's really going to have to work on that, because for periods of time today, Macedonia was giving it to them.
Yeah.
And I know they get their chances because Macedonia already lost the first game and had to push because they already had a -2. And at the time they had a -3 with the loss 2-1. But you should, like, with a team against Macedonia when their backs against the wall, you should be like, Ukraine is good enough. They topped their Euro qualifying groups, going undefeated.
They didn't beat France.
Euro. They're in Portugal's group. Portugal came second.
Wasn't Ukraine in France's group?
No. For Euro qualifying?
Yes.
No, they're in Portugal's group. 100%. I'll tell you. Yeah, I follow Portugal. They tied Portugal the first game and then won every other game.
Right. Okay.
They beat.
Pardon me.
And
then it was Serbia in that group too.
Yes. Yeah. They dominated. They had what I think 7 wins, 1 tie, and they played amazing football. Even the game they beat Portugal in Ukraine, they dominated. But transitioning to the actual Euro finals, I know they've made it a few times, but I think the last Euros they didn't score, or if they did score,
I'm not sure.
They didn't win any of the games. But for a team that's like on the up and coming with good young stars, they can't afford to go through lapses of the game of 15, 20-minute spans, or maybe 10, 15 minutes, where they're just getting dominated. And then because momentum really means a lot, they got to ride the momentum. They've been playing when they play well in spurts. They gotta find a way to extend the spurts where they play well, right? So that way, even if it requires in maintaining more possession to rest, because possession is like if you're on the ball, you don't have to work as hard as long as you use the ball correctly, right? You don't want to be chasing because that's how you get out of position and get tired. But they have to find a way to stretch that, because in the Netherlands game it cost them, and in this game it could have cost them, because I think Macedonia, they did a good showing. I was very proud of them.
Yeah, I mean, and they have for both matches, I would say.
And they're scoring, even when they're losing, they're scoring. Sure. They're not getting shut out, right? Yeah. Which is good. I know it was.
That's really, I think,
what
you want as a Macedonian fan or Macedonian for this tournament. And then Ukraine have a massive match against Austria, which do they have to win it on goal differential?
It would help because they're -1 right now.
They're -1, and they're even. Yes,
no, they're even. They're even. Sorry, they're even. Austria's -1.
No, they're both even.
Oh, yeah,
they're both even. So then it's goals scored.
No, it's just a win, and there's a.
No, but if they tie, the tiebreaker is goals scored in the group. So that's tied as well.
No, right? Ukraine has 4.
Ukraine's 4. Okay, so Ukraine. So Austria needs to get the win.
Yeah, they didn't score today, Austria.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so Austria needs to get the win, and Austria finally get their first win in the tournament. But
came at a cost.
They are Arnautovic missed today's match. But,
did you see what he said? Did you hear what he said?
I mean, I not verbatim. I watched the thing. It was very, very animated.
Yeah. Well, do you want to know what it was?
Yeah, please.
I think I don't know.
Kind of like gave me like a.
I don't know what exactly was said before, but he was suspended because he said. I'm just pulling it up now. Sorry. What was it in? He pretty much said, "I'm still fucking your Albanian mother." Something along those lines.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the vehemence that he put forth into it, physically, I don't blame him. I don't. Not that I don't blame him, but I mean, it sounds like that's something he would say. Yeah, it was impressive, actually.
I know, but he went on Instagram saying, "I'm not a racist," but it's just like at that point you got suspended, so still you said something that was deemed borderline or over the borderline.
Yeah, it was a little much.
But he will be back for their last game, which will be huge.
Yeah, and they have to get Alba. I don't know if Alba has not been playing center back for that team or left back. He's been playing in the heart of the midfield or off to the left, but mostly in the heart of the midfield for that team for as long as I can remember.
I would say like at least 4 years. He was in the midfield last Euros too, right?
They didn't make it out. Did they make it?
They made it to Euros. They were in Portugal's group, Iceland and Hungary.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Actually, I had high hopes for them that tournament. Actually.
Yeah.
They totally botched it. Yeah. Yeah.
They only had 1 tie. That was it.
They were the turkey for me. Anyway, I think they need to move him up into
midfield.
Yeah,
and so he's more influence in the game. You can't make an influence in the back, right? Yeah. And I guess obviously he's a left back at heart and a left center back in the recent years with Bayern or club football. Who knows? He's gonna play center back at Real. I would assume that's why they brought him in.
They absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
So he's even though he's more of a transformed center back now, even though he's not as big and strong, but still, for Austria, you need a talent like him to be more influential in the game.
Yes, it's like Alphonso Davies getting pushed up the field.
Yes, and we have to because or else we won't score.
Yeah.
And kudos to Canada as well for beating Haiti and making it to the last round of CONCACAF qualifiers for the first time since '96, which is so sad to say.
Seriously.
Considering that we won a gold cup in 2000.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know. Not even considering that the countries that we're qualifying with.
Oh, yes, I know.
Let's be real. Okay, let's get on to our preview/review, going from D, E, and F, and let's try to maybe crank it down to 15 minutes.
Yeah, these groups have only had one game so far. They're going to be at 2 games by end of Saturday, but we thought we'd say them last because at least this way we have 2 games to preview and see how because the group should be done by Thursday next week. I think by
maybe Wednesday, Mike. No, because
no, because
I think are they doing one group per day? I don't think so. Because I think Father's Day,
the round of 16 starts
this Sunday, is the third. The Group A plays on Sunday again.
Angelica's birthday is the 25th, and there's no matches. There's no matches on the 25th.
It's Wednesday. Wednesday's the last day.
Yeah.
So they're doubling up on
Wednesday, Tuesday,
on a
Wednesday.
couple of days. So like Sunday is Group
4
A.
games.
Sunday's Group A. Monday's Group B and C. Tuesday's Group D, and Wednesday's Group E
and F. Okay.
All right. So let's open up with Group D, and England just solid, boring, compact kind of performance.
It was a good win for them. I think it was because there was a lot of expectations. The first game, they're amped up. They're at home. A lot was expected of them, but I think at the end of the day, as long as they got the 3 points, and they didn't concede, which was a good thing.
No.
They didn't concede. They got 3 points. I think that's.
But with that setup, that's what you're going to get. Calvin Phillips, amazing performance.
Man of the
match, hands down. But that's what you're going to get in that setup is grinding out a 1-0 win. But if you're not creating enough chances, which I don't really think they did. Harry Kane was an absolute ghost in the first half. Didn't see him at all. Raheem Sterling, wasteful again in the first half. He was. Twice makes decent runs in behind the lines and can't make up his own mind.
Yeah.
Classic Sterling. And then, kind of bungles in a fine pass from Phillips. But when you set up like that, honestly, Gareth Southgate can't remind me more of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Team selection, questionable. It might get you results. It might get you results. The formation, questionable.
The formation, I think, was fine, but it was just
it's better than I expected because I was expecting a 3-5-2, and a defensive 3-5-2. Not so much what I've seen from the Dutch thus far, which I don't know if the Dutch will continue with, but the Dutch have
attacking
very expansive. I think I'm seeing picturing a more defensive angle from Southgate, and I just don't think these team selections and this philosophy to attack each game is enough to get them over the line. It might get you into respectable semifinals, but I don't see it getting past there.
The only concern I had was why play 2 right backs?
Man,
they played Trippier on the left.
Man, that's another Solskjaer thing to me. It's like a loyalty thing.
But it's just like, what does that do to Chilwell and Shaw going forward?
Well, Chilwell didn't make the bench. Sancho didn't even make the bench.
Oh, so are they still dressing 18 only?
Yeah, apparently Sancho and Chilwell did not make the bench.
I thought they could dress 23 but bring 26.
No, that's okay. So yeah,
is that what it was?
23.
So they didn't make the 23?
Yes.
Chilwell didn't make it?
No.
Is he hurt?
Sancho. No.
Did he get hurt in training?
No.
That was just weird because I saw Trippier on the left. I saw Trippier on the field, and then I saw Walker on the field. I'm like, wait, what? Why are they both on the field?
You know what?
Usually it's like
they more or less neutralized Croatia in that match. Do you think this actually can be an issue though going forward?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. That was my only concern.
You can suffocate the left hand side if you keep doing that. Completely suffocate it.
It's just why bring them? I know.
Well, why bring them? But even when you're starting one of them, you could be wasting a sub on it. When a team can actually, it's gonna be difficult for Trippier to actually, start creating down the left hand side.
No, I don't think that's a long term. I think it was just for this game. I'm hoping it's just for this game.
But why you have Chilwell and Shaw, both of them, have great seasons.
I know. I don't understand. I didn't understand it. That's what was just like, why create this problem when it doesn't need to be a problem? I think you could have won with Shaw or Chilwell there. So it doesn't. Why play Trippier in a position that's unnatural to him?
I don't like it. I don't like it. What do you think? How do you like them going to Scotland? Scotland had a decent performance.
They had a great performance
against
against
Czech Republic. No finish, and probably the goal of the tournament by Patrick Schick.
Yes.
The curve on that was insane. You see like half.
It's when you have more distance to curve it curves more, right?
I know. But like, a lot of times for me, when I see goals from half, it's like generally it's like more or less kind of like a beeline.
Straight, yeah.
And in this case,
this time he didn't really need like the power, right? Because the goalie was so far up. Was it Marshall's name?
Scottish keeper.
Yes. He was so too far up that he just said, I have to just get it on target, right? And as a left-footed player, you start it more left and it will curve into the net, right? Because if you try and curve it and you start it on net, it's going to go wide. But great goal and great brace. The Czech keeper, I was joking with Guy that, like, I don't know, I would still give it to the Czech keeper because he made some phenomenal saves.
He did.
Scotland were very wasteful.
Poor finishing, but still very good saves.
Yes, very good saves. You still have to save it, right?
Yeah,
to say, well, why didn't you finish it? At least he saved it. But, it's like, if I'm Scotland, like, I'm hopeful because of the chances I created and just, like, encouraging the kids to, like, if we finish these, it's a different result, but, like, not capitalizing against... I'm not saying Czech Republic's a weak team because I think they're a great team. I think they can get to round 16, maybe the quarters, and pull some upsets. But now your back's against the wall against England. I know it's like
that's just it, and that's just it. I think this is where Scotland's dead in the water. And I think this actually might be the other group that has two 2-2-pointers in it, or 1-pointers.
One
because
of the third place teams that don't make it, right?
Yes, yeah. I can see Scotland snagging something off of Croatia. A respectable tournament for Scotland. They put in a decent performance with Czech Republic. Who knows what happens against England? They're going to be up for it. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yes.
Do they?
It would have been better. It would have been better if they at least got a draw or a win, because they deserved at least a draw. I think from that Czech Republic match, but if you can't finish, you don't deserve anything. Right?
You know what I think,
and you had great chances that you just blew.
What I think really helps the Czechers, because I like that team, and this was maybe the game where the onus was on the Czech, and you can say they got away with it, but I think it was still deserved. I still think they edge it slightly, but now with this, it's like you're taking on England, Croatia. This is a good team that has a lot of team chemistry, knows where they need to be formation-wise. They work as a unit, and I think they're going to be very dangerous in terms of hitting both these squads on the break. And I think they can. I think they'll beat Croatia.
Scotland?
No.
Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
Oh, okay.
I think they'll beat Croatia. And then then I guess we'll get into then you weigh it up. Well, you wait up for next for the third round. And it's like, well, I don't want to play the group of death runner up or third place.
Yeah, that would be.
It's runner up. It's runner up.
It's the runner up of the group.
But yeah, I do think Czech get something out of that, and I think they could, to me, be like a shot to almost win this group.
So how do you? So you think Czech Republic beat Croatia?
Yes.
So you think you still hasn't, that game against England hasn't changed your mind about how you feel about Croatia?
No, because to me that's England, making sure they get the win and get going, and that's also Southgate's setup.
They got the revenge, right? England.
Yes, yeah. There's that, and just England not being flashy and completely destroying a team. I'm not surprised they won that game. That was a close game on the scoreboard, but Croatia didn't do anything for me. They did nothing to change my mind to suggest that they'll get out of this group higher than third. If they get out of this group third place and they get through that way, then all right.
Great on them, though. Not perfect scenario. They only got one goal against, right? So that's a good thing. They only got one goal.
That is true, but not surprised they.
I don't know. I think Croatia can get it done against Czech Republic, and I think I think England still get it done against Scotland, but at least for the battle for second and third in this group will be interesting on the last day, which I hope. Yeah. Which I hope.
Agreed.
And that's all I can hope for.
No, I disagree, because I actually think England and Czech Republic win. What are they playing tomorrow and Friday? Or Friday tomorrow. Just tomorrow. I think they win them both. So I think this group
6-0-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna call that right now.
I think.
And I was calling it into the tournament too.
If they had Mandzukic, for sure I'd pick Croatia, but they don't.
All right, on to Group E, and you know what, man? I gotta say, Mike, this was actually the first match that I'd seen a few first halves up until the Czech Republic match against Scotland, and this is the first match I was actually watching on a TV, seeing into the second half, and I was pleasantly surprised by the Slovakia-Poland match.
That was entertaining.
Even before the red card, I was like, oh wow, Slovakia's really moving the ball nicely. Poland has sustained pressure themselves and been knocking around decently, but
Slovakia, they've been doing nonstop dribbling drills because they were taking on everybody. Even their goal, seriously. I know it's unfortunate that it was an own goal.
No, he
skimmed both of them. Obviously the second person, but he drew him in, then megged, and then cut inside. Unfortunately, it was a deflection off the post, and then off Szczesny and in. And I still can't believe that's the first own goal in European history.
Of the Euros?
Yeah.
Oh.
European finals. Surprising stat.
The Euros?
The Euros, yes. Yeah. They happen in qualifying, but not in the actual Euro tournament, which is still shocking.
Yeah, agreed.
But great goal. They were pressing. Poland, they're done. I think they're done. I don't
know if they are. Because to me, this group, like I said in the preview, I think there's going to be a lot of draws in this group. And now that there's
that probably would have been a draw. Draw probably would have been the fair result, but after the red card,
well, then
Trinar's goal was great.
Nice finish.
It was like a striker's finish. He was looking at.
Fuck, man.
I guess
Denmark should get him instead of Martin Braithwaite.
Well, defending Lukaku and Martinez every practice, I guess you learn a few things, right? So, but great finish. Stupid second yellow card.
Man, okay, let me talk about these because honestly, Mike, both of them to me were so soft.
But if you're on a yellow, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't go into tackles like that if you're on a yellow.
All right, it happens, but I agree with you, but it happens in there plenty of times when refs, even when someone's on a yellow, it's like, okay, stern warning. And it was the same player, 25 on Slovakia. I'm not going to profess. Who calmed the ref to me both times. Even like the slight, yes, okay, tugbacks are generally yellow, but first yellow. The most gentle of touches here, looks back at the ref and then falls and gives me. I was like, "Come on, man! Please, I fucking hate it."
I get it, but when you're on a yellow, don't put the decision in the ref's hands, right? Don't
listen. It was silly on him. It was silly on him, but I just wish the refs and this ref in particular would show a little more backbone in terms of how you're changing the game and for what.
Right, but they don't have to think about that. They just think about repping the game and what they deem as a yellow or not. And deemed it as a yellow. And
don't be so soft with your yellows. That's what I'm saying. That you're changing. Yeah, I know.
I think it's the player's fault. It could be the manager's fault for keeping him in there, right? And he was playing awful too. He was giving the ball away. But other than that, maybe they're not done, but it looks really bad for them now because they have to face Sweden and Spain.
Slovakia showed though, they actually completely just cut Lewandowski.
Oh yeah, they take him out and you have a great. That's what everyone knows that you have to do against Poland. Take out Lewandowski and you're gonna probably have a good chance of winning.
Yeah, and you know what, Mike? Yeah, I think the easiest team in that group just took them out. So.
It's difficult because Sweden, I think, is still good. I think Sweden as a team overall.
I think, based on what I've seen from Victor Lindelof over the last couple of years, Lewandowski can absolutely aerially have a field day.
But you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a one-on-one match.
No, it doesn't.
Just take him on as team defending. Right? Always keep an eye on everyone.
Of course.
When he's in your area, keep an eye. On to the Spain.
Pretty dull. What do you want from Spain?
Pretty dull. It was 85% possession. I can't believe that. 85% possession. That's more than 6 times. Or almost 6 times, sorry. Almost 6 times the amount of possession. It's crazy.
It is. There were a couple decent chances in that game. But, I mean, fuck, man. Spain, honestly, man, Mike, I'm telling you, I just feel as though Spain are just going to do something weird in this. Even the quarters, I think, would be respectable for them. But they could just grind. They could just grind something out. You spoke about in the previous, if they realize that they're not who they were, they could be dangerous.
Yes, and I still, but before this match started, Max, messaged me and guy was like, you know what, I like the lineup. I kind of like the Spain team. Don't sleep on them. And I replied with the sleepy emoji. I'm sleeping on them.
I didn't disagree with that. I didn't disagree with that though. Man,
but
they could do that and go to penalties or snake one extra time, and you'll get a longer nap.
Yeah,
they'll still win.
Yeah, they could, but it's just like it's possession. It's proof that they had 85% possession. It's possession that was meaningless. But I know they had chances, but I still think Sweden had the best chance of the game.
Yeah, what, Isaac?
With Isaac to Berg, and Berg missed the open net.
Yeah, well, Berg loves to do that. I think Berg did that against United in the semis of the Europa League when we won again. Who was it? Celta Vigo? Was he at Celta Vigo then?
I think
we almost blew it. We almost blew that, and then
it was Celta Vigo.
It was 2 minutes left, and he's I can't remember what he did. He missed. He skied it, but it was
great for Sweden. They held on to the
draw, the 0-0 draw. Condolences to Joe's cousin who bet every game not to end in 0-0, including extra time. Sorry.
Oh,
you won't get one so far.
Oh, you mean for the whole tournament?
The whole tournament.
Oh,
no.
Okay, of course.
And he was sweating it, man. Like first, I think a lot of the matches at the beginning, first half, no goals.
Oh yes. Even though we'll get to the Portugal-Hungary game, but yes, great for Sweden. Obviously you don't want to give up the ball, but I know going into Spain, you're gonna have a lot of possession against, but if it means countless, like I guess Morata had the best chances, and
That was a mistake, man. That's the problem for me for Spain is that Morata is the one up top, and you're probably not going to be doing too much against the top quality opponents, and you got to be taking.
Gerard Moreno, do you think is going to be starting next game?
No, I still think he'll go with Morata. I still think he'll go with Morata. I do. You go both of them up top. Moreno's a good provider.
It's
if he wants to switch, but I don't think he'll switch the system.
You don't think so?
No, because the focal point of that team is, and should be for almost any team really, is the midfield, and that's where the depth lies. And and you want to pack that midfield with as much talent as you can and see what your striker can do.
It's just unfortunate Poland has to face Spain next, so if they lose, it's definitely looking bad. But how do you see that? Who do you think comes second in that group now? Because Slovakia has 3 points now. So
I know.
They're leading the group.
Okay, all right. Okay,
they have 2 games left, right?
Honestly, man, from what I saw from Slovakia, I kind of liked it. Alexander Isaac looked great. I will say that. I just want to put that out there. In the limited position of the ball that Sweden had, Isaac looked very good. And I was very disappointed in the ref actually taking. Sorry, not the ref. The manager taking him off.
In the 60th.
Okay, heads up to the Anchor and Spotify podcast people. We have gone long again. We're trying to sort this out. I think there's just so much to unpack with the Euros, but in 2.5 minutes, you will be getting cut off, and we apologize. But I'll give you the heads up this time instead of just being so abrupt.
Anything else from that group?
Okay, who am I taking second?
Slovakia,
who am I taking second? Who am I taking
Or even
second?
Spain, who knows?
Or even Spain. That's a good point, Mike. It's a very good point.
I think this group is wide open.
It is. It's interesting. I know.
I think Poland is the one that's out, and I think Slovakia gets third, and I think Sweden gets second.
Poland's playing Spain? Oh, man, they can get a draw. I said before this tournament started, Spain could make it top of this group in a very ugly fashion. I said 1 win, 2 draws.
This is the other draw.
I'm gonna say Poland. Pull it back. So I don't like Sweden.
Second. I like Sweden.
I'm sticking.
Kulusevski is gonna be back.
I'm sticking with Poland.
Okay.
I'm sticking to him. I think draw against Spain, win against Sweden. I think Sweden are gonna come bottom now.
And Sweden's beating Slovakia.
Ooh, sure. Slovakia did that.
Sweden's beating Slovakia.
Look good. Look frisky, Mike.
On to the
group of death. Let's open up with Portugal, snagging 3 goals in the last 10 minutes against Hungary. And
first time it's happened. And,
Mike, I mean, poor Hungary.
No, not poor Hungary, man. I don't care what anyone says. Poor Hungary this, poor Hungary that. They were getting dominated.
No, I know. But from a neutral perspective, to lose 3-0.
Oh, yes.
To lose 3-0. No, I'm not saying they didn't even necessarily deserve a result from it.
Like temporarily took the lead for 3 seconds.
But
they got the outside goal.
But I mean, just to get pumped like that, and then great for Portugal.
They should have scored 2 in the first. They should have put it away.
But the fact that they would be happy to get 3 points when you're in this group, and you're vying for a positional sense, and you grab 3 goals at the end,
this is big because it sets the precedent for France and Germany when they face Hungary. Now they know they have to score probably 2 at least, but to match up with what Portugal did, as long as they don't lose the other. Germany in this case has to be Portugal.
Yeah.
And they of course have to be Hungary. That was I was saying beforehand, but yeah, this is big now because it's going to change the approach that these teams come out against Hungary.
Yep. Yes, and you know what I mean. Hungary no slouches.
They're at home for 2 of the games.
Packed.
Yes,
I love it.
They were the only one to have full capacity.
Until Denmark today.
Denmark, I think it wasn't full.
Did Ericsson
I don't know. I think it was 95%, so pretty much full
capacity. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think there was I know, because if you looked at the corners, there were some empty seats, but everywhere else in the middle and behind the net, it was full. So it's just just to have it full, but it looked full and it was pretty much full. Hungary, it sucks for those fans because it. No,
it doesn't.
Full stadium, and then you're in the game, and then you lose 3-0.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I mean, once they went down 1-0, you're like, that was the gutting moment then. And to have it 0-0 until the 84th minute, I think you take that because once you go down 1-0, it's we're probably dead, and that's the moment. To lose 3-0 is you know what? We didn't deserve that. We walk out of there heads held high, and
but now you got the next 2 World Cup winners, right? So it's just I don't know. I felt bad for Hungary because
did you just predict?
No, I think
France winning the next World Cup.
No,
the last 2 World Cup winners.
The last 2 World Cup winners. I just felt bad for Hungary because of the way the first goal went in. The deflection and no chance for the keeper, side netting, and then I would say a questionable penalty. But if the ref calls it a penalty, the VAR is never going to overturn it. This was the moment a lot of neutral fans were waiting for. Portugal with a penalty. Who's going to take it, Ronaldo or Bruno? To see if there would be an argument. But I think 90% of people knew it would be Ronaldo, especially with 1 goal. Of course. But it would be funny, right? Because, Bruno, is he a better penalty taker than Ronaldo at this point?
Yes.
I would say yes.
Yes, he's looking for Ronaldo.
Yes. He needed 1 goal to break the record of Platini if he was tied. And then he added a second one, which I thought live was offside, but
beautiful goal.
They never VAR'd it, so I assume they must have, but it was onside. So they never showed a replay of that. So I'm like, it was close.
He's too fast, man.
I know.
He's 36, and
he's unbelievable. But on to the great win for Portugal. Mm-hmm. Maybe not 3-0 was deserved, but a win was definitely deserved.
Match of the group stage, Germany-France, on paper, obviously. But I don't think it didn't really disappoint. I think it was pretty well. Because
okay, you know what? I was expecting more, but you know what? It was played like a World Cup final, so I get it. Looking into it. I was like, it's going to be very edgy. Mm-hmm. First game, know you're in group of death.
Yeah,
a result against the other will most likely see you at least get third or be in a position to snag third.
Germany really didn't offer much. Man.
They didn't, and the question I had was, did you like that starting lineup?
For Germany?
I thought it was.
I didn't.
I thought they lost it then.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. It's more for me. For me, it's their. It's the backline that
did it for you. Does it for you?
That's an issue for me.
I thought it was very conservative. I thought it was very because they had Gnabry up top by himself.
What are they going to do, man? They don't have an out-and-out striker.
I would have liked Werner to start because at least with his pace and Gnabry on the wing, it could cause some problems. It could cause, but with this lineup, it didn't cause any problems for France, right?
I see that. I can see
it's
that.
Very one-dimensional there. Werner, I know he's wasteful this year, but that was for club.
You shake off.
But he's
for Germany too.
Yes, but he at least I guess he wanted to change his approach from 2018 World Cup, right? But I don't know with no Sané or Werner, no pace.
It's fair.
Right? Because those players individually can make a moment
you know what,
and create a moment just off their pace and
creativity. The thing is that, Gnabry doesn't – if you keep that same personnel, Gnabry doesn't need to necessarily be the one that's up top. You put Mueller in the false nine and drop shit.
No, I wouldn't put Mueller in the false nine. If anything, I put Havertz there. But why put Gnabry? That's not something he's used to playing. Right? So why try it in the first game against France? Why? Once I saw that lineup, I'm like, France, here we go. That's why we did the bet builder. Sure. France is going to win this game.
But you thought Germany was going to score.
I thought they would score because of the subs.
They did nothing. Right? Yeah, sure. Well, maybe, but that's the thing is that he's Lowe's had no identity with this team for
a while now.
Since I would say right after that World Cup. I'd say he blew it up after that World Cup, and he hasn't been able to figure it out since. He's brought them all back. Almost scores a screaming own goal, by the way. I'm sure you're happy with that. It's a non-UA player scoring a
goal. Finally, yes. Before that, there was 2 own goals, and they were both scored by UA players. So at least that streak's done.
Yeah. I just he doesn't know exactly what he's doing, and the problem here is that you don't even have Hungary. They have Hungary third. He can't even maybe take a chance and try to.
You think he overcorrects? I think he overcorrects
against Portugal.
I think he overcorrects,
and that's things like
I think Sané and Werner
if Hungary was the second game, then you're changing up the personnel, but you have a weaker opponent that you can hopefully get away with.
Yeah, but they're still at home at least. At least they have all 3 games at home. That's the saving grace, right? It's like you do have Portugal next. So you have to start the group off like that.
Hungary, man, look at some of the performances that Germany. They lost to Macedonia. They've been poor. What if it's just Lowe, who I will say, I was glad they kept him around because he
deserved it.
He deserved it, and I like that. I like that, especially in international football. I like that they kept him, and it's you give him one more time. But what if it's he just leaves in such shame where it's 2 major tournaments, and basically and everything in between. They were poor in the UEFA Nations League, even though I don't recognize it. And he just leaves in utter shame, tatters, reputation as the Germany manager done.
I know, but it just I don't know what to think with Germany, but
okay,
they need at least a point from Portugal. I think I still think it ends in a tie. I think it ends in a 1-1 tie.
Well, you see, the thing is, I guess with Portugal's Portugal can go for the throat here. Why not go for the throat and then see what you can do against France? Because Portugal's had some success against France as well.
That's what they want, right? Because they want to beat Germany.
Yeah, let's get out of there.
And that way you can go into France.
Put the pressure on. It's
and seeing how France does against Hungary, you can get a tie, and that will secure you first and not second, right?
Exactly.
Germany at this point, you're better off playing for third. Even though you don't realistically want to be playing in a position where you're playing for third, but it's just what? If you
try and sit back, take the draw. That's not German style.
Oh, I know it's not.
German style.
I'm telling you. I think Sané and Werner both start, and it's going to be an overcorrection. I think only one of them should start.
Mm-hmm. With Gnabry.
Yes. But I think...
Who are you taking off? Havertz then?
Yeah. Because you have Mueller there, right?
Yeah,
I think Mueller does a better job than what Havertz does.
Yeah, for sure.
So
more experience.
Yeah.
That's who you want in that position for sure. Okay. Yeah. I think Portugal will take this match.
They should be playing a 4-2-3-1 and not this... They played 3-4-1, 3-4-2-1.
3-4-2-1.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes, but you know what he's doing?
I don't think this formation works for them.
He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Though he's been chopping and changing for years now. And the thing is, what I see what he's trying to do is that he's trying to get Kroos, Kimmich, and either Gundogan or Goretzka
in the mid,
and he's shoehorning them in. See the thing, but he can still do that the 4-2-3-1 because you do the 4-2-3-1 and in the pivot you have. You could do.
What I would say,
Kimmich and Goretzka.
I guess, and Kroos on the bench.
Now see that's. Can you get Kroos further up? Can you get Kimmich on the right?
Really. I think Kimmich on the right, and then you have Gundogan and Kroos.
Gundogan
and then Mueller, Werner,
Sané. Kroos. Not Goretzka and Kroos. Goretzka's back.
Oh, Goretzka's back?
I think he should be back. I think he might have been on the bench.
So I might even do Gundogan and Goretzka.
Interesting.
I might even do Gundogan.
I don't think you do that at all.
I don't know. That's just
that's what you're saying. Right? Yeah, sure,
but
for sure. Yeah,
I think you got to shore up. I don't know. I think I'm not saying that he doesn't like Sane, but clearly he didn't take him last World Cup, so I don't think he'll start him. But I think as an overcorrection, he will. And
That was a huge mistake from the last World Cup. But anyway,
yeah,
Mike, I think we got to start doing 2 episodes a week.
yeah, we might have to, especially during Euros. Right?
Yeah, for the Euros for sure. So guys,
so much soccer. Sorry.
Thanks for hanging around. It's a lot to unpack, and I think we're going to chop it down to 2 episodes a week. And then when that's done, I'm gonna try and bring back the Scout and actually work on some video editing and all that jazz. But anyway, thanks for hanging around, and we will talk to you maybe sooner than later.
Yes.
Bye.
See you guys. Are you sure?